So there are three things that I want to accomplish today with this plein air session. Three big goals. And they all matter and mean something to me. Oh, sorry. I'm sipping on tea while I record this voiceover. The first goal is that I need to fix a mistake that I made a few months back when I first started plein air painting. And that is that I gave myself a challenge to do a plein air painting in only 50 strokes. It is probably the worst painting I've ever done. And I told myself at the time that it was because I did this silly challenge, but really it was more because the composition was terrible from the start. And it was the first painting that I had to scrape away. I just could not bear to look at it. And I put the old canvas next to the new paintings that I was doing on a weekly basis. This old painting that I failed just kept staring at me and mocking me. That's good. But I decided I'm not going to let it mock me anymore. That was a different time. That was when I first started plein air painting, and although that painting kicked my tail, I'm not going to let it haunt me anymore. And I've grown an awful lot in the last few months of plein air painting. And I'm going to paint over this terrible painting and make something that I'm proud of. Now, I absolutely hate it when I see other artists on YouTube painting over old, used canvases. It bothers me. So if it bothers you too, you can rest assured I'm not going to make it a habit of this. I'm just doing this one time just to prove to myself that I have grown a lot since then, and I'm going to put this old canvas behind me. The second thing that I want to accomplish on this plein air trip relates to the first thing, in that the composition was terrible because I tried to paint it on a square. And I have never been successful at using a square. The fact that I can't do it, the fact that I hate using a square, means that there's a weakness there. And I need to get stronger. So I want to prove to myself today that I can actually make a painting that I like on a square. The third and last thing I hope to accomplish is that I really want to make a painting that looks good up close and far away. And I'm really intrigued by paintings that can look realistic from a distance, but then when you step closer to it, you can see all kinds of abstract shapes, swirls and colors and blobs of paint. And I'm not sure if I can do that. I've done realistic looking paintings and I've done abstract paintings. I've never really been able to merge those two worlds into one. And I want to also prove to myself today that that is possible, that I can do that. Even if not done very well, I just want to give it a shot and see if I can come out with something that looks somewhat abstract up close, but at a distance also looks realistic. So if I can accomplish these three things today, I will count today's plein air session as a success. is my interpretation of the scene. Light has shifted a lot. And of course, it's on a square canvas, so the composition is kind of zoomed in. So I brought this home and I realized that while I was out there, I was painting in really dark shadow. And so I wasn't seeing the colors very clearly as I was mixing. And that's another problem with plein air. You don't really want to paint in direct sunlight because you don't want to make the painting too dark. But if you paint in shadow, then you have this problem where you can't see the colors that you're mixing very clearly. So I realized once I got it in the light that there's some very purple areas, and I'm not trying to be Claude Monet or anything, so I'm gonna touch that up a little bit, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's a lot of purple right here, and there's a little bit of purple in the water, but that's a bit much. So I'm gonna desaturate that a bit so that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. And then I might even darken up a few places in the water and maybe do a little bit of work on the bridge there. I don't even have purple on my palette, so why I mixed up so much purple, I don't know. Take some of the sap green and some blue. A little bit of burnt sienna. There's a little bit of controlled chaos going on. Are you hot? Let's take a look at the painting. Stepped away from it for a few minutes. You can see, you know, the color in there. There's some blues, yellows, violets, browns, greens. There's all kinds of colors in there. And there's some swirly stuff going on to make it look like movement. But does it work? I don't know. I think maybe. When you step back, I think it looks all right. So it's kind of realistic from a distance and abstract right here at the same time. So, all right, I'm gonna call this one finished, move on to the next one.